The Secret of the Night Visitor. John Peterson had moved to the village not long ago. It had been about 6 months since he'd started living in a rickety old house at the far end of the settlement. Though calling it a village was a stretch, there were only 3 residents left: old Fred Anderson, his granddaughter Mary, and John himself. The village had all but died out. The younger folks had moved to the city long ago. But John didn't mind. He was quite content with the way things were. The mobile shop that came around every 2 weeks, the absolute silence all around, and the fact that his phone only got signal by the well. But everything changed after one strange encounter that made John consider moving back to the city. After all, it's no small thing to see a ghost in your own home. Let's start from the beginning. John Peterson lived a quiet and steady life. Each morning, he made himself sunny side-up eggs and enjoyed a slow breakfast. Then he would check on his livestock. By livestock, he meant 5 chickens, a cat named Whiskers, and a rabbit called Thumper. If the weather was good, he'd go fishing at the local pond, which had an excellent stock of golden-bellied carp. In the evenings, he worked in his garden and then watched TV, mostly conspiracy theory shows on his favorite channel, Mystery Net. That fateful evening, he had just brewed a cup of tea and was about to turn on the TV when he heard a faint knock at the window. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but the knock came again. "Who's there?" he called out loudly so the visitor could hear. "Do you have any tea? Maybe your neighbors could spare some," came an unfamiliar woman's voice. John was surprised. Mary never came to visit him, and her grandfather wouldn't have let her wander around at night. She was still young. After all, though how young, John wasn't sure. On the other hand, there wasn't much to fear in the village. It wasn't the city. "There's tea," he replied. "Come in if you'd like." The guest turned out to be a young woman, dressed like a city dweller, clearly not a local. John was surprised. Where could a stranger come from in such a remote place? Even the regulars only showed up twice a month when the shop came. As if reading his thoughts, the woman introduced herself the moment she stepped in. "My name's Emily," she said. "I'm Fred Anderson's daughter. Came from the city to visit my little girl. But wouldn't you know it, my father's out of tea, so I figured I'd ask you. Hope you don't mind." "I don't mind at all," John smiled, smoothing his mustache and discreetly admiring the graceful figure of Fred's daughter. "I live like a hermit out here, and here you are, a real beauty." "Thank you. Have you been living here long?" "I haven't visited in years, always too busy." "Mind if I stay a while? It's pouring outside." John glanced out the window in surprise. Sure enough, big raindrops were hitting the sill. Just 5 minutes ago, the sky had been clear. "Can't send a guest out into the storm," he said. He offered her some stale jam and nearly rock-hard gingerbread cookies. "Forgive me, I wasn't expecting company," he said sheepishly. "Oh, don't worry about it." Emily waved him off with a charming smile. The stormy weather made sending her back across the village unthinkable. And besides, she was quite the talker. Their conversation flowed easily. "Do you happen to have something stronger than tea?" Emily asked shyly, avoiding eye contact. "Just to warm up a little." "Hard to believe no one's warming up a woman like you," John joked, immediately regretting it. But Emily only laughed, and what a laugh it was. Her messy hair framed her almost feline face, John thought he hadn't seen such beauty in years. After a couple of drinks, the conversation turned even more relaxed. She was already calling him Uncle John, and he felt like he'd known her forever. "Why don't you take your daughter back to the city?" he asked. "No fun for her here." "There's no place for her in the city yet," Emily replied. "And it's better this way. Her time will come." Just then, a strange noise buzzed in John's ears, and his vision darkened. Perhaps the drink was stronger than he thought. "I need to lie down, Emily. Must be my blood pressure," he mumbled, collapsing onto the old couch in the kitchen. "Maybe it's the weather," she said, shrugging. "But Uncle John don't go fishing tomorrow. Wednesday's a bad day, Thursday's good. Just saying. In case something happens by the water, you've got unfinished business here." Sure, John muttered, suddenly overwhelmed by sleep. His eyes felt sewn shut. He tried to sit up but couldn't. After one more failed attempt, he sank into the pillow and drifted off. When John opened his eyes, the kitchen was bathed in morning light. 2 mugs and 2 silver shot glasses sat on the table. But Emily was gone. No wonder the host had passed out. The guest must have gone home through the rain. John groaned as he sat up. His head felt like he'd drunk half a bottle alone. Holding onto the wall, he stepped outside to check if the storm had damaged the shed roof or the trees. But everything was intact. Not only that, there weren't even any puddles. The yard was dry, as if it hadn't rained at all. "How strange," he muttered. Even stranger, his chickens had laid twice as many eggs as usual. That had never happened before. But John couldn't stop thinking about Emily. Why had Fred never mentioned having a daughter? Maybe they were estranged. "And I didn't even give her any tea last night," he muttered. "She left empty-handed. Some host I am." He decided to go to Fred's house and make it right, bring some tea, and apologize for falling asleep. The shop wasn't coming until tomorrow anyway, and neighbors shouldn't be without tea. Fred's door was slightly ajar. John knocked politely and peeked in. "Anyone home? I brought some tea, meant to give it to Emily yesterday." Fred appeared from the other room, pale as a ghost. "What tea? What Emily?" he said gruffly. John blinked. "Your daughter. She came by yesterday evening, said she needed tea." "From the city?" Fred walked slowly past John, without saying a word. He went to the kitchen, lifted an old bench, and pulled out a yellowed photograph. It was Emily smiling, just like last night. "She's been gone 10 years, Fred said, sitting down with a sigh. "Drowned in that lake of ours. Every year on the anniversary, she visits someone in the village, scares folks away. That's why no one's left here." "And she never visits you?" "No, we didn't talk much when she was alive." John stood there in stunned silence. "Oh, and by the way," Fred added, "yesterday was Thursday. The shop came. You must have slept through the whole thing."